Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dan, and I have a very special guest with me today. He is the founder and creator of Hero Story Academy and Two Comma Club ex-coach with the ClickFunnels team. So today, I'd like to welcome Steve Bartetzko.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. We connected through the ClickFunnels community, and when I found out you were local, I wanted to reach out to you and just meet some like-minded people or person, in real life, as we live in this online world. But before we get into our conversations today, could you share a little bit about yourself and how you got into what you're doing today?
Oh, absolutely. I've been in digital marketing now for about 10 years. I actually came the way of auto glass, of all things. I'm not really sure how those go together. It's almost like eggs and fiberglass. How do those go together? But it was more of just of a fascination in digital marketing, learning this new world. I saw everybody doing these things online, and I thought, oh wow, all right, I got to learn this. This is fun. Granted, at the time, I considered myself a massive introvert. Wasn't willing to go out, be in front of a crowd, put myself out there. So, like many of us do, right? We're thinking, oh, I'm an introvert. I'm going to hide online. Nobody has to see me behind the screen. And this was my brilliant idea. And I started diving into doing AdSense sites and blogs, and none of it worked for me. They were all terrible, as a matter of fact. And I had this bright idea come to me one day. I said, I'm going to start a supplement brand. I'm going to start this online supplement brand. I'm going to get people in. I'm going to get them to buy my product. And the way I'm going to set myself apart is I've got this idea for a focus and mental clarity supplement, and I'm going to sell it to golfers. And that was my brilliant idea. I'm going to sell a mental focus and clarity supplement to golfers. Problem was, though, I was not a golfer. Matter of fact, I was pretty terrible at golfing. And yet, uh, I was convinced $1 million idea. I know it's perfect. It's just set in stone. It's going to make it happen. And I still joke nowadays, even as far as my golf game, my most reliable shot is still my hand wedge. Right when I pick up the ball and I throw it, doesn't go very far, but I know where it's going all the time. But I had that brilliant idea. I'm gonna start a supplement brand. I'm gonna sell it to golfers. I did the market research, the funnel hacking of who else was out there, how were they selling it, what did it look like, and I went to the all to the nines as far as this setup. Found the ingredients, got a manufacturer to make it for me, got labels made. I had them ship me these products to go with it. I had this great sales funnel made, and then I lost my nerve, of all things. All right, I stopped doing it, and it wasn't that I just stopped the business. It was I started feeling, oh, wait a minute, now I got to put myself out here. You set up all of this effort, and now I have to put myself out here. And I wasn't willing to. I wasn't willing to assume that mantle as far as being the person in charge and driving the traffic. And I had this great idea. Um, I'll just do it small, right? I'll put in a couple of dollars here and there. I was using AdSense at the time, at Google AdWords,
Mhm.
driving maybe $5 a day, and that was it. And I had this odd idea in my head. I said, okay, as soon as I get one sale, as soon as I get one sale, I know it'll be a viable product, and that's when I'll put more money and more effort into it, right? But of course, it was this self-perpetuating. $5 a day, you're not going to get a whole lot of people. You hope that someone's going to look for the ad that you put up there. You hope that they're going to click on it. You hope that it converts to a sale. I look back now And I think to myself, I spent all of this effort getting it set up, and then I chickened out. And what I was doing was relying on what I call hope marketing.
Hmm.
I'm going to create this product and I hope someone comes by to buy it. And it just doesn't work that way. It really doesn't work that way. You have to make this complete shift as far as your identity and your approach, because it's your job to actually make this happen and get those people to notice you and come to get your product and your solution.
Wow. Yeah. You're absolutely right. I think as entrepreneurs, we all kind of suffer from shiny object syndrome. And when we find something that we put all our effort in, and maybe the littlest road bump we hit, we're like, oh, forget this. Let me, oh, here's another shiny object. I think, let me start all over. But as you were talking and were going through these phases, I was thinking you probably just figured out 1,000 ways how not to do something.
Oh,
Right.
I became a master at it. Absolutely.
Right. And so that brings us today. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with clients that you are helping with their digital marketing.
Sure, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I noticed at one point, as far as this opportunity, like I said, this identity really dictates everything that we have, right? I was not willing to assume a different identity. Let me give you an example here. When I was growing up, I was one of the fortunate ones that had to get braces. I say fortunate because it wasn't great at all. But at the time, I thought, I'm going to just keep on doing what I'm doing. They tell me I can't eat this. They tell me I can't drink that. Whatever. I know better than them. Right? The follies of youth, as far as thinking that you're invincible and you got this. Well, I didn't have the best hygiene as far as the braces were concerned. What can you do? You're young and foolish, right?
Starburst and soda is attractive.
Oh man alive, I tell you what. And so exactly that problem. I
Yeah.
kept on doing that. I kept on thinking I can continue to live this way. And I ended up getting a hole in my tooth. Right? It's still there. Granted, it's filled by a great dentist and filling nowadays, but it's still there. Right? There's no going back from that. And it wasn't until I made this conscious choice, this conscious change from I'm not the person who drinks soda all the time. Right? It's not a matter of I can't. I can, but I'm not the person that does that. I took on this new identity. And it's really a matter of this identity that controls every bit of the actions that we do. This identity is that one lever that you can tweak and say, all right, if I assume this new identity, how does this new identity work? Right? What would you do? What are the actions you take? What are the words you use? Who are your friends? Who do you get along with? Who do you surround yourself with? And that identity is everything in this case. And I'll give you an example. I had this realization as far as identity and what it can do on personality and getting the attention. And I had this thunderbolt, if you will, hit me one day. Oh, wait a minute. It's all on identity and personality. And if there's one business I know that really just focuses on this idea, identity and personality to drive their business, it's professional wrestling. Now stick with me for a moment. See, my brother and I, we grew up big professional wrestling fans back in the classic WWF days, Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and Brutus Beefcake and all of these outsized personalities. And I think, oh, that's exactly it. Their identity is what either sinks or swims. It's what drives that more views, more cheers, more involvement from the audience. They're really buying into this identity. So I called my brother up one day and I have this this great idea. Hey, look, it's all about identity. How does this work? Do you know of any suggestion as far as professional wrestling and creating an identity? He says, yeah, I got nothing. But I tell you what, he says, I remember some of the conversations and the teachings from Stone Cold Steve Austin and from Mankind, Mick Foley.
Mhm.
And they both say the best persona you can use in wrestling is to be yourself turned up to an 11, like Spinal Tap, right?
Yeah.
You turn that up just to an 11 and you be more you. And you attract more of you. And it was just this realization of, I can create this identity, right? I can create this identity of anything you want. And I'll give you an example on this. Remember, I mentioned a few minutes ago, as far as growing up an introvert, growing up feeling not comfortable. And frankly, it was terrible. I was such the ladies' man, except no, not in any way, shape, or form. I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to be around them. I didn't know what to say, how to get their attention, even find out anything about them, right? And it was awful as far as growing up was concerned and trying to fit in where you're feeling so uncomfortable, so awkward. And I remember this one day, this before I got married. So before I got married, I'm driving down the street one day and I happen to see this attractive female, and I think to myself, I would love to, just stop and have a conversation with her. And of course, the first conversation, the first step in my mind, this natural defense at this point, this natural defense chimes in and says, you can't do that. You're an introvert. You don't know what to say. You're going to make a fool out of yourself. All of these roadblocks we start putting up for ourselves. You can't do this. And the most bizarre thing happened this day, because it was this one time that I heard a second voice. This second voice that said, she doesn't know that. And I thought, I'm sorry, wait, what? And again, I heard it. She doesn't know that. She doesn't know anything about you. For all she knows, you could be the most interesting person in the world. You could be the exact person she needs to talk to. And you are the exact person to maybe get involved, or even to find someone that would be a great fit for her. And who knows, right? Who knows where it could go? But the only reason that you feel that you can't do this is you're utilizing this introvert as a crutch. You're using it as an excuse of why I can't, right? But the only way she knows this story, stay with me, the only way she knows this story is if I give it to her. Okay? She doesn't know anything about you, which means I can assume any identity I want. Okay? And there's something liberating in that. When you realize nobody knows anything about you, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say be fake, be inauthentic, but nobody knows these roadblocks that you've fashioned for yourself. They don't know about these handcuffs, these shackles that hold you back. They don't know anything about you, right? And it's only you, in your mind, and what you tell yourself you can and can't do, that create that identity. This identity of, I don't put myself out there. I don't drive my own traffic. I don't have my own podcast like you do here, right? It's not until you fashion this new identity and say, I'm no longer that person. I'm now this person, and I do the things that this person does, right? I'm now confident. I'm now outgoing. I'm now able to talk to you because I know who I want to help, the earlier version of me. That's probably why you got into business in the first place. You were facing some sort of problem, and you went down this road of trying to conquer that problem, right?
Right.
That's why we get into this business. That's why we create these products, these services, is to help the earlier version of yourself, right? So when you realize that, the ideal customer for you so often is the earlier version of yourself.
Hmm.
And now it's just a matter of what's going to attract me. It's me turned up to an 11. It's that identity that you create for yourself, this attractive character that you create for yourself to get this attention and to lead them to the solution, right?
Right. Right. You know, as you're talking, it kind of reminds me of my own journey. And if you can believe it, in high school, I was nominated as most shy. And I lost out to the
Love
most,
it.
and he was really shy. That guy was really shy too. But what kind of helped me turn the corner was I looked at some of my friends who were like really outgoing. They had a lot of friends. They talked to everybody, right? They were that kid at school, like they were friends with the jocks. They were friends with the artists. They were friends with
Yeah.
really smart people, right? So they were just really good at building relationships. And I told myself, hey, that guy's going to go pretty far in life just because his ability to connect with so many different types of people. So that I kind of then forced myself out of that old identity and say, if I want this, then I must be this, right? And, you know, as you were telling your story about, you know, your braces, this is the thing that Tony Robbins says is like, change happens in an instant. Do you kind of agree with that assessment?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But you have to be, and this is the toughest part of them all, in my mind. You have to not only make that choice to be somebody new, you have to be willing to let go of the old version. And that can be one of the toughest things to do, right? It's you're severing that connection that you had of this is the comfort zone that I lived in, right? This identity was the comfort zone that I lived in. This is all I've known for however many years. And it's not until you make the choice of I'm no longer this person, I'm now this person. And that's when the actual change comes is being willing to let go, right? There's a great quote that I found one time that it really speaks volumes on this. When you let go of who you were, you can become who you really are.
Mhm.
And it's that conscious decision of I'm going to change. I'm going to be this person. If you've ever heard of the be, do, have model, I'm going to
Mhm.
be this person. I'm going to do the things that this person does. And therefore, I will have the things that this person does. Right. So you have
Right.
to make that conscious decision of I'm going to be this person. You have to decide, as Myron Golden, if you know Myron Golden,
Mhm.
he gives this great lesson to decide is to cut off. You're literally cutting off the old version of yourself. I'm not this. I'm now this.
Mhm.
Right. And who's to say you're not? Right? Ultimately,
Right.
I'm not trying to tell you to be inauthentic. I'm trying to say you don't have to be shackled anymore. You can be that true self, the one that you always known is inside. And it's just a matter of letting that person come out and no longer be held down.
So what type of, you know, it was always you kind of tie it back to, you know, business owners and
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. With the clients that you work with, where are you kind of seeing them get stuck, right?
Sure.
Maybe ask in a different way. What is your ideal client and what is the struggle
Mm,
they have with to break through to the next level, which is why they brought you?
that's a great question. So my ideal client, the online entrepreneur, is one who has dreamed of getting out there, creating that successful business, really connecting with those folks that they want as their ideal client. It's not just a matter of, I'm going to help everybody. No, you're not.
Mhm.
It's helping the right person, right? And once you realize who it is that, and I have this exercise that I help my clients through, is really define who is that ideal person that you want to work with, because everything we do is to help them get to that next level. Once we define who that ideal person is, now it's a matter of how to put yourself out there, how to reach your ideal client, and what's the best message to utilize with them, right? It's presentation, it's messaging, it's the branding that you're utilizing in order to attract that ideal client.
Right, right. You said you told some great stories, and I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially kind of in the space where we're used to, it's like, hey, I was broke, I was living on my friend's garage floor with minus $400 in my bank account, and now I'm a millionaire. Not everyone has that type of story, right?
Correct.
Probably 99% of the people don't have that type of story.
Correct.
For someone who doesn't have that, such a dramatic change, how do you create a compelling story kind of to that effect, right? Does that kind of average person, so to speak, create a compelling, attractive character or compelling story such that to attract the ideal customer?
Well, understand that those problems that you face are going to be in and of themselves drama filled in one way or another, right? It may not be I lost it all. It may be a matter of it's an us versus them, or it's a secret that they don't share. But no matter what it is, those stories that you have, there's always going to be that conflict, right? That conflict is the enemy, if you will. Whatever conflict that you're dealing with, even if it's your own self, that conflict is a matter of that becomes the, as you can see over my shoulder here, the Darth Vader, right? The Darth Vader is the enemy that we're fighting against, and that may be ourselves, and it may be a matter of not feeling you're good enough, and it may be a matter of not feeling like you belong, right? But that difference between the then and now, the good and the bad, the protagonist and the antagonist, is ultimately what these stories are based on. It doesn't have to be I was broke and now I'm rich. I didn't have confidence and now I can go and speak in front of crowds. Right? That's as much of a compelling story as anything else. Right?
Yeah.
This before and after, this contrast that you see. We're, as humans, we're attracted to this contrast. We can't help ourselves. The black and white, even if you ever learned color theory and the complementary colors, right? Red and green, or yellow and purple, or so on, these contrast colors. This is really what draws our eye. The before and after photos of weight loss. It's not as though one person was poor and one was rich. There's a completely different kind of contrast, because there was a completely different type of enemy that they were fighting. There was a completely different type of villain and challenge that they were overcoming. So it's just a matter of finding what is that right messaging, the story for you, and how do you reach your ideal client?
Right. So, you shared with us kind of your supplement business and how you kind of had to understand to be the attractive character for that business. One of the questions I've always kind of had with like kind of someone being the forefront, right? Like Russell Brunson, Tony Robbins, everyone knows that they're basically the kind of quote unquote spokesperson for these companies. One day they're not going to be with us, right? So how does obviously creating the attractive character, creating the tribe is very important. How does one person, as they're creating their business, create that long-lasting legacy? So when they're not there anymore, obviously they can't jump in the microphone, they can't jump in the video, they can't jump on the stage anymore. But how, maybe not the same effect, but how can the legacy last as far as they can?
That's a great question. You know, I had this idea or this thought in my head for years that it would have meant the world to me, and still does. It would mean the world to me that when I die, kind of a macabre, somber thought here, but when I die, the only thing that I wanted is for more people to be sad that I'm gone, or to know that I've touched their life in some way. For more people to be sad that I'm gone than I knew when I was alive,
Mm.
right? For me, that was a matter of that ultimately um, helps understand what kind of that lasting legacy is here. But the same sort of way of business, we don't get into business ultimately uh, just to make money. Well, some of us do. Some of us do, but ultimately, they can only go so far if you don't have that drive for that ideal customer. We're doing it for this person, right? And it's that same thing that holds us back. We don't hold ourselves back for them. We hold ourselves back for us. Okay. And it's this business that we create and this legacy that we create that actually truly impacts the world to inspire the next person to conquer their own demons, to inspire the next person to create new products and new services. And we don't need millions and millions of fans. It's just not logical to think that everybody does. Not everybody wants that, right? For some businesses, for yourself, for example, could you actually help 1 million clients at one time? It's probably not feasible considering what you do, right? For you to give the time and attention that your ideal client needs, it's not feasible to have millions on millions of them. Forgive my dog here behind me if you hear those noises. And one of the most important ways that I can go about this is one of my favorite articles to read is Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans.
Mm.
Is within them, the true fans that you're making this actual impact, the ones that you're inspiring to take that next step of their own, to conquer their own demons.
Right, right. Um, so you talk about we talk about leaving a legacy, and this is an exercise I want to share with you. Like one of my pastors shared with me was basically write your own eulogy.
Uh-huh.
Right? What do you want to be have said at your eulogy? And it was kind of a backwards way, or kind of start with the end in mind, right? Write the eulogy, write what you want people to say about you, so that you kind of step into that persona. Right now, you are working towards whatever they may say about you.
Got it.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of very, very powerful. Now, for those of you who haven't seen, pictures of Steve, he's in a t-shirt now, but he has a certain persona. So tell us how you came about wearing the certain article of clothing that you usually do, and how to use that in your marketing, of course, for
Oh,
your own business.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what? I had this idea years ago. Excuse me. I used to go to this industry event in online marketing. If anybody has ever been to Affiliate Summit West or Affiliate Summit East, it's a whole different world. It's a completely bizarre experience if you've never been there before. But I remember going to Affiliate Summit West one year, and before I went, I was making sure that I was prepared. I had the shirts for it and the shoes for it, because you're going out, you're trying to make this great first impression. And I happened by this department store one day. I think it was Kohl's at the time, and I'm walking through Kohl's and looking for a shirt, just a new button-down shirt. You know how we do. We don't really pay attention to that until we need it sometimes. But I'm wandering through looking for this shirt, and I just glanced down and I happened to see this bow tie. And I thought, that's ridiculous. I'm in. It's ridiculous. Don't care. I'm going to have some fun. And nobody going to pay attention anyway. This was my mind, at least. Weird thing, though. right, is when I go to Affiliate Summit and we're about to go out to one of these industry events, trying to mingle, trying to get in some new clients, find out how we can help them. I decide to put on the bow tie. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. Interestingly, that day, all of a sudden, I stand out from the crowd, right? Because how many people actually wear a bow tie? But all of a sudden, people start coming up to me. Hey, that's a great bow tie. Oh my God, I can't believe you're wearing that. Who are you? And I'm the only guy there that is wearing something as ridiculous and out of place as a bow tie here. It's not a black tie event where we don't have tuxes on, but I'm coming out with something different that's standing out. And this really helps me realize, holy smokes, in this same sort of way, as far as this persona is, I can create anybody I want. I I can put something behind it, right? And this same sort of concept, as far as you can craft whatever this message you want. And for me, it was just as utilizing what I would fashion like an armor, right? I can hide, and it's not even hide, I can shield myself from these insecurities that I had, thinking I couldn't go out, thinking I couldn't put myself forward. I can hold this shield as though I'm a knight and just do battle as somebody completely different, because they don't know any different,
Mhm.
right? They don't know that I ever had these hang-ups about myself. They didn't know that I didn't know what to talk to them about. Now they start coming to me because I stand out and because I don't do the same thing as everybody else. And that bow tie really became this, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do it my own way, and I'm going to have fun with it. And really that for me was that main driver, is deciding to have fun with it and deciding to really let go.
Yeah, I remember I went to these networking events, and there was this guy who wore a red tie, and he put himself out as the red tie guy. There's a couple of people
Yep.
wearing suits. Somebody says wearing sports coats. Some people wearing ties, but he had the red tie on, and his business card was red tie guy. And I still remember it. So this is how good it was, right? Sure. And he was a realtor, and I'm sure if I Google red tie guy real estate agent, it'll pop up number one on the search results. Okay, so we're kind of near the end here, but can you share a little bit about what you're working on? I know it may have, I think it's still kind of in the release phase with your new project, but tell us a little bit about what you're working on there.
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, as a matter of fact, I've got the Founders Club of my Hero Story Academy. As you may have noticed here in conversation with you, I've told you a good bit of stories. I've told you a good bit of these parables in order to help the conversation along, in order to prove the point that we're making, in order to help overcome whatever the objection might be. In the same sort of way, as far as harnessing these stories that we have, this is really what I've helped my clients do, and show them how to take any of the stories that they've got, any that they've heard before, any that they've helped, and how to fashion this as this is the lever to pull in order to help get more customers in, and how to overcome the objection that my prospects may have. These stories really become the exact reason that the ideal client follows you. Okay. In business, in competition, there's always going to be somebody else that sells someone like you. It's just a fact. It doesn't matter how innovative your product or service is, you're still competing for the same attention and money as your competitors do. Okay. So the one thing that you get to utilize to set yourself apart from your competition is the one thing that your competition, can never replicate. And that's you. You get to utilize you, your stories, and the way that you can attract that ideal client in order to set yourself apart from the competition. So my Hero Story Academy really helps show you how to do that, how to craft these stories, how to fashion them as these sales instruments in order to get those prospects and turn them into sales.
Yeah, I've learned the power of storytelling pretty well, kind of halfway through my career. Like there was a one point where, I'm an attorney, and traditionally we're taught like, hey, you don't need to do any marketing. So people are just gonna come to you because they got a problem. But kind of along the way, I had to actually learn sales skills. I learned how to prospect. I learned how to close. But part of it was learning how to tell stories to overcome objections. And there's a quote that's, I don't know who said it, but basically, facts tell, stories sell. And stories, whether in sales, in business, or just as the way society progresses, is a powerful way to move someone from one emotional state to another. And certainly, it's one of the most powerful skills any human being, you know, can have. So, if someone wants to learn more about what you're doing, do you have a website or on social media we can learn more about it?
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
can look it up here at herostoryacademy.com. Of course, I welcome anybody to reach out to me on Facebook as well. You can find me Facebook. There's probably only one Steve Bartetzko, except maybe an old email address that I don't even know how to access anymore. But if you see the one with the bow tie, you know you've got the right one. But you can absolutely join me and join the movement here at Hero Story Academy. Like you said, there is my founders special going on where this is the first time that I'd really peel back the curtain and show people how I create these stories and create this seamless process in order to overcome those objections. So I'd love to have you in and love to help you with your story.
Perfect. Yeah, and we'll put the links in the show notes. So if you want to connect with Steve, you can easily have access to those. All right, so we're at the end here, but we've into the rapid fire questions.
Love it.
And so just answer the first thing that pops in your head. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Best business book you've read and why?
Ooh, best business book. I'm going to go with the 4-Hour Work Week. Almost the gateway drug of online marketing, but it really shows you what's possible, and not just what's possible, it's the why, right? And I
Yep.
love that part about 4-Hour Work Week. It really gets into why are you doing this? Why are you creating the business? And what are you going to do with that free time that you create for yourself?
Yep. My favorite part of that book is how he became the kickboxing champion or taekwondo champion.
Great.
I won't spoil it. It's obviously it's worth the read if you're in any sort of business. Okay. Best business advice you've ever received.
Best business advice. I want to go from Miss Rachel Peterson, and that is the attractive character you actually want to use is yourself.
Very good. If you could do one thing over again, what would it be?
Ooh, wow. I'm gonna actually, I would go with nothing, right? I'm not gonna change anything because everything that I've done has created who I am now, right? As Tony Robbins has said, it doesn't happen to you, it's happened for you.
All right. And you lose everything. The only thing you have is your cell phone, computer, and internet connection. How do you rebuild your business in 30 days?
Oh, I love this idea. I'm going to start publishing. I'm going to start sharing my stories. I'm going to rebuild that ideal client base and really reach them with what makes me, because that's how I can lead them into becoming them.
All right. Who do you look up to?
Oh, I definitely got to go with Russell Brunson. Myself, one of my inspirations, especially showing me the right way to do it. I've been in businesses the wrong way before. Trust me, it is not a pretty picture. So finding someone that you can believe in, the right way to go about business, and then follow them as far as their recommendations and how to really connect with the audience that you want.
All right. And finally, what's the biggest challenge in your business today?
Oh, biggest challenge, making sure I'm having fun.
Hmm.
I find myself, I get stuck if I'm not having fun. If I just look at it as I have to do this. But when I step back and think, no, I want to have fun with this. My ideal clients want to have fun with this. And that's what kind of keeps the theme for me, bow ties, heroes, and stories. That really creates that fun environment for me. And to me, if you don't like that, if you don't like stories, if you don't like, as I've got Stitch and Darth Vader behind me, and I've got Stan Lee on my T-shirt. If you don't like this sort of thing, you're probably not my ideal client, and I'm willing to stick with that.
Yeah. You must notice here, I got a Deadpool right here.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So, all right, we've got Bowtie Steve Bartetzko with Hero Story Academy. Thank you again so much for your time. It was really, really fun talking to you about, learning about the attractive character and how it can help our business. So we'll talk
really
soon.
appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right. You have a great day.
You as well. Thank you.
All right.